And we're off. It is. Thank you. Thank you, sir. At 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Thank you, Jesse Lee Peterson, rating, which is to say Pastor Shadowley, I think, rating the stream. Very cool on here. And I'm going to see if I'm... Hey, it looks like I'm live on BitShoot. Did you know that BitShoot... BitShoot. I'm not saying a bad word, okay, guys? Although JLP says it's not a bad word. Has a live stream. The Hake Report live on BitShoot. I don't know how good it is. It's my first time. It's my first time trying it. I'm live on punchy.tv/Hake, as well as X and Facebook and all that stuff. You know, I was like, you know what? I remember seeing that BitShoot is offering live streaming. That's cool. Don't you think that's cool? So we'll see how it goes. Nice. BitShoot live. So we'll see how that works out. But nice, whatever. I'm whatever. You don't have to know what else I'm live. Where else I'm live. Still welding and still listening, and ND North Dakota rocks, says Nazulium with a diamond over there on D Live. Right on, man. Well, yeah, he gave a diamond on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, and he was live there. I mean, he was supporting over on JLP's D Live, and now he's supporting on Hake's D Live. Shout out to the redheaded stepchildren, often neglected D Live crew. So, and Nick already fixed the thing while I was sleeping. Right? Did you fix it or was it? Yeah, thanks. I didn't know if it was already like naturally fine. Okay, so let's start to get stuff ready over here, shall we? Look at the beautiful scenery. Oh, let me see if I can do this. This thing, right? I'm learning how to do it. I can do it by myself. That's a Sesame Street song. I can do it by myself. And that's all I noted. Okay, cool. Nice. Hake, independent. Remember when I was dependent on like Hassan to show stuff? My, how you've grown, Hake. Well, thank you. What's up, Jules? Forgive yo mama. Age of inversion. Busy times. But it's not a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, because there's also plenty of time in which you can rest. If you rest. There's a Bible verse that says that God will grant the righteous rest. Something like that. And I think that makes sense. And a lot of restless people are a mess. Rest is important for your health. So, FYI, whatever. Nice. So if you go over to the... Whatever, nobody's joining me over on BitShoot, even though it has live chat. I mean, it's like about time. They've only been around forever. Shout out. We'll see how that goes. I will get to your calls, everybody. Well, not everybody, but those who call in and to whom will make an effort to get to all of you. I have more super chats to read, I do believe. Greggatron gave me a fun tip. Wow. Thank you, Greggatron. That's cool. He's on it. And what is going on in the world? Drama. A whole bunch of drama. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, guys, let me see if I'm ready here. I might be ready. So let's just get right on with the show! man. Ah, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Let's see if this works.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hey guys!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, how you guys doing? I am fine. And I just noticed as I was wearing this t-shirt, as I was perusing this, I was looking at it and I was thinking, you know what? I don't think I put this on hake.printify.me. Yesterday I was advertising. I thought that I had gotten all caught up. But I don't think I did. I don't think this is up on Printify, but there are other fun designs on there. This one is from Lock Your Door. It's the Hake Report, the profile pic that I use for like everything. A white-faced Hake, very graphic, and it says la 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 in tall letters. You don't even notice that it's saying la la la. You just think, and it says the darker orange, which I prefer the darker orange. I mean darker red. Don't mind me. But, I've shown you guys the different mildly attractive designs that are up and stuff. Knowledge is Poison. I got the better version of the t-shirt from Knowledge is Poison. I'm getting rid of I don't like the Bella canvas. Shout out. Well, I like the, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyway. Let me get to HADEN in Texas, who's on the line over here, has an interesting topic, I think. What's up, HADEN? How you doing? Are you there?
Hey, how's it going, Hake?
Hey, going well. Thanks, man.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah, you're coming through quite clearly.
All right, good, awesome. Yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying it was great hearing Mark's voice yesterday.
Yeah.
I love you, Mark. If you're listening to this,
Shout out.
And also, Hake, Hake, if you could, I would love for you to read to Mark, or Mark can read it himself. The From the Heart coffee from JC from Little Rock you posted yesterday.
Right. Wasn't that nice?
It's very, very genuine, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, man. Shout out. Yeah, but nice.
From the heart. Anyway, so I wanted to. I've seen you. I saw your assessment of Jeff Metcalf. I think I'm pronouncing his last name right. Yesterday, and it was a 100% correct assessment. I've also been seeing what you've been posting on social media about him as well, and everyone's saying that it's white guilt or whatever. I mean, there's really no denying it. That is the core root of why he's responded the way he has to the murder of his son.
Yeah. True. Are you
so,
on?
Yeah, I wanted to.
I wonder if he's on.
I wanted to say.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I am experiencing a delay for some reason. I don't know why.
No worries. Do you think that
Yeah, I apologize for that.
Do you think that forgiving his son's killer is, do you think that forgiving his son's killer is white guilt? Just to clarify, because Popcorn made that accusation.
I don't. So I saw that. I believe that Austin's brother and mother are responding in a genuine way. I believe his father's responding in a way he doesn't want to be portrayed as a racist. So I don't believe his father's being genuine at all.
Oh, okay. That's okay. I understand.
This is my assessment.
So to forget. So it. How about just never mind the father himself, but forgiving your son's killer, is that white guilt?
That's a really good question. I believe it depends on the circumstance. And in Jeff Metcalf's case, I believe so, because it was so quick for him to forgive him. I mean, he hasn't cried or, said anything in defense for his son. It's been all just defending about the murderer, which is sick in my view. So I guess it just depends on the situation. That's the best way I can answer it.
On the situation of, okay. On the situation, like how? Like, I think I know what you mean. I'm pretty sure. I'm quite sure I know what you mean. But on the situation, how? Elaborate just a little bit more, just for Popcorn Thump Keg's understanding, in case he can understand. Because I understand. Go ahead.
For Jeff Metcalf you're referring to?
No, you said it depends on the situation whether forgiveness is white guilt or not. So what would be a situation in which it would not be white guilt?
I believe that, Austin's mother and brother right now are responding to the situation the right way. If they later on forgive the murderer, maybe a year or 2 or 3 years, maybe. I don't think I would consider that white guilt.
Yeah.
I believe that they probably are genuinely, they probably have genuinely forgiven him at that point.
Interesting. So you believe that
if that makes sense at all.
It makes sense in terms of how weak and angry real normal typical people are, as opposed to how they pretend to be, because Christians feel like you're supposed to say, I forgive you, but they don't really know what it means, and they don't really know what they're talking about. And so they just say it because they know they're supposed to say it. And they think that they're forgiven just because they said it in their minds and out loud. So I get what you're saying. They said it in
words, but they don't mean it in their heart.
Yeah. I think that's fair. I don't know that it. Yeah. I wouldn't want it to take me years to forgive. I would hope that I would be over it right away, but not necessarily have to say it or not. Like that's there, because there's an impulse to say that you forgive, but there's a difference between actually forgiving and claiming that you've forgiven. Like that's not a. It's a good example if it's real. And it's kind of a good example it's a good principle to have, is to forgive. And it's kind of nice that you bring the issue up. I like that he brought it up so that we can discuss it and so that people can be aware of themselves.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't wish hell on myself for a couple of years before I can get past it, but that would mess with your head because that's a crazy situation for the son to get stabbed in the heart.
Exactly right.
A 17-year-old man.
You're 100% correct. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do want to bring up this point, if I could. I'll make it super quick. So I heard after my call with you on Friday, I believe his name is Robert from Kansas. Y'all two were having a debate about the Jews and how they have control over our banks and our politicians and stuff. And the conversation seemed a little intense. I haven't been watching your show enough lately to know if y'all have beef, if you want to call it, or whatever. But I'm not blaming you for being skeptical about it. But I'm on Robert's side. He's 100% correct about the Jews and their influence over our country, and it's sick because whites have given control to the Jews and to the non-whites, and that's why we're in such a deep, dark state in our country right now.
Right. It's as Barbara Specter said. I think that's her name. We will be resented for our leading role, she said about herself and her fellow Jewish people, Jews. It wasn't. It was. I forget what my. I didn't even really necessarily disagree with him about that. It was just I was not interested. I forget what the topic was really. I forget what the point was or what. But I didn't really want to get that into it with him. Yeah, I've known Robert from Kansas for a long time. Yeah, it's true. They are influential, and most of them are evil. Most people are evil, and when you get to the top like that, most of the time people are corrupt, and it exposes your corruption. And they really want to push evil. They're not Christian. They're not very Christian in their ways, and it's a mess. It is interesting that one thing I would warn. One thing I would warn the whites about is they're not the only evil ones. You got to check yourself, because of course they are influencing the
100%
the evil in the world, but you have to. They're kind of like It's kind of like the drug dealers. The drug dealer is sort of a leader over the drug addict, and so the addict, you have to point the blame at the addict too.
Right.
The people who fall for it. You can't just say, "Oh, they're puppets; they can't help it." Yeah, they're puppets and they can't help it. And yeah, these people are puppet masters and they can't help it because they're being puppet mastered by the devil inside of them, just as we are by the devil in us.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And for the record, I am proud to have voted for President Trump. That's probably like one of the only things I disagree with him on is he's such a strong advocate for Israel and the Jews and stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably the only thing I have, against him. But I would love if Mark does call in, I would love to hear his take on it as well, because he's so pro-white, he's so pro-Trump and stuff. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's also called out the Jews before in the past too.
He's pretty fair-minded about it, though. Being a little bit older, he knows that he'd rather. Well, he'd be safer walking around in Israel as a white Christian man than he would walking around, some of these Muslim countries. So he's sort of realistic
100%.
about it. And since they are so influential, you have to work with them, and you might as well be friendly with those who are able to work with you somewhat, which is what Trump is doing, and I commend him for that, actually. I think that there's a lot of Christians who really support Israel, and there's a lot of people in general who do, and the anti-Israel people, although there are a lot of whites like you and others and Christians who are very critical of Israel now, and independent thinkers who are pretty fair-minded, but there's the trend against Israel is from people who are very anti-white and very anti-Christian. And so
100%.
If you're jubilant about the overthrowing of Jewish people of influence in America, it's being overthrown and replaced with something even worse, if you can imagine it. But it is. So
100%. And yeah, for the record, I am proud to have voted for him. We needed a white man back in power. We would have been screwed if Harris would have won. We would have been screwed.
Right.
I don't believe people emphasize that enough. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, if Mark can respond to that coffee and the whole Jew thing, that'd be awesome. I would love to hear your take on it.
Right on, Hayden. It's good to hear from you, man. Great call. Take care.
Thank you so much, Jake. Have a great day.
All right. Nice. And Joseph, a first-time caller in Missouri, is on the line here. Joseph, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Mr. Hake, can you hear me?
I can. You sound great.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
I wanted to give a little bit of input on the whole Metcalf stabbing. I think I have kind of a different point of view than a lot of people.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people talking about white guilt and all these things, and it really comes across a bit emotional.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think anybody's looking at this through a logical lens.
All right. Let's hear it.
So this person that stabbed him is clearly incompatible with, what is supposed to be the American way of living. I mean, what is his consequence going to be? Life in prison, or probably not even that? I think we need to switch the dialectic, and people need to understand these criminals are not compatible with America. Most of them don't want to be in America. It sounds a bit archaic, but we need to have some sort of solution to kind of get these people out of America.
Interesting. Is that doable? That doesn't sound feasible to get them out of
Well, I think it doesn't
America.
sound feasible because of the current dialectic.
Yeah.
Because nobody's talking about it.
Define dialectic for the boomer. Well, the boomers may know what dialectic is, but for the
boomers
ignorance, the ignoramuses, tell us what
Sure.
a dialectic
So
is.
we have a common vernacular. We have things that we discuss, on a daily basis that we're comfortable with discussing. And when something uncomfortable comes up, it's outside of the dialectic. It makes people uncomfortable. But if we were to come closer to more logical ideas, which I think this is in the realm of logical ideas, then it would be within the dialectic and people would feel comfortable discussing it. And then it would be, admissible within politics to a degree where maybe we could actually have logical policy that would be in line with that.
Okay. Ancient Greek dialectic. I don't know how to. It's all Greek to me. Also known as dialectical method, refers originally to dialogue between people holding different points of view about a subject, but wishing to arrive at truth through reasoned argument. Nice.
Sounds smart.
And so, to get blacks like this guy out of America.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think we should. I think, what are we going to waste taxpayer money at some stupid prison? What does it cost? The average life inmate it's around 20 years old is nearly $1 million, I think.
For what amount of time? $1 million every month or year or what?
No, for an average life in prison sentence.
Oh, so life in prison costs us $1 million, and a life in prison is 20 to 40 to 60 years. So the average life costs us $1 million to keep them in there. Exactly. I would be for. I don't know if he deserves the death penalty. He might, if he's guilty of real actual murder. But that's I think that there are ways that we can clean up the so-called justice system to where they're kind of paying for themselves, rather than us paying to keep them in there quite so much.
Yeah, but I want his own people to decide his fate. I don't want good white people to have their thoughts invaded with this kind of, non-American kind of behavior.
Yeah, it really isn't.
I don't think it's
gotten
right.
worse.
We're not the right people to pass out this sentence. That should be up to his own people.
Oh, well, I don't know, man, because it was committed against a white American, so it's kind of interesting. It seems like the whites should have a say, back at...
then maybe the whites should have already killed him in some sort of justified sense, but, he's going to be handled through our bureaucracy.
I disavow that.
So, at the current point in time, it's it's just going to fester emotions amongst white people because obviously he did kill a white person, and I don't think that's the right way. We probably shouldn't even be thinking about this. Something should have happened much, much sooner because of the severity of the crime.
Well, they have to investigate and stuff because people are making claims about the nature of the interaction. Somebody claimed, and you know how blacks are quick to jump on a false claim and claim it as true.
Anybody with any common sense isn't thinking about these kind of claims.
Yeah. So, no, man, I don't think that you should. You do want to accommodate the weakness of human beings because it's weak for whites to get emotional about this situation. It's not right. And so you don't want to do that. You want justice to be swift so that justice is supposed to be an example make an example out of the person, but it's also supposed to be just and swift, quick. And so I don't think that, it happened, the other week? I think it's within reason, but it's not gonna get settled.
No, I'm saying, I would say, right at this current point in time, this would be like a reasonable time frame for there to be any sort of decision, but it's not going to happen within the next, maybe, I don't know how many months. I mean, if you want justice, the American justice system is probably not going to offer that.
It's real bad. That's true. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that the solution is to get them out. I mean, it would be great if some of them were unhappy and left. Yes, I'm for that. But I don't know what his dissent is.
So
if he's
incompatible, though. Like,
it is, but it didn't used to be
happening.
It didn't used to be this way. I know I've heard that the black on white crime has always been disproportionate, even during, Jim Crow and slavery and all that stuff. I heard that it has always been disproportionate. I don't know if that's true, but it kind of makes sense. But it's gotten like way ridiculously out of control, worse over the past 100 years, let's say, I think.
Well, I'm just saying I'm offering a solution, and I don't hear anybody else offering a solution other than we need to wait for the justice system, which is going to pass out some sort of lenient sentence and perpetuate this kind of issue.
But I don't think that's a real solution, is to get them out of here. There's no political will to do that. I get that you want to change people's minds. You want to wake people.
Yeah, exactly. But to offer this kind of idea up to the people so that we're actually consciously aware of it.
I like Jesse's idea, which is more immediate.
What's that?
Separate. Because that's something that people can do. And you don't have to wait around for the evil government or the political will or the majority of people to do it.
How is that more immediate? I'm talking about shipping people out on like a plane like the next day. He's talking about, real estate ventures. He's talking about construction. He's talking about
that's not what I'm talking
real
about.
things.
There is no plane shipping him out immediately. There's no plane shipping the blacks out immediately.
But that's the idea, right?
Right, but ideas aren't real.
Both ideas are just as feasible.
Not really, because you can separate from the blacks right now. You can avoid them right now. Like Scott Adams said, I have nothing to do with them because they're just too quick to cry racism. They're antagonistic and a mess. That's something that you can do right now. It has nothing to do with, you can do real estate stuff, but that's a more like long-term, slightly more long-term, but even that is less long-term than the notion of shipping people to Africa or wherever you're thinking.
I think that's an interesting idea. I haven't heard Jesse mention that. I haven't watched the show in a while, but I kind of came back to it today, and I was like, dang, it's just as good as it was before.
Right.
So, wanted to call in.
Yeah,
But, that's just my idea. Just throwing it out there. I was just kind of thinking about this whole issue, and I'm like, white guilt and everything, we need to stop talking about that. We need to start talking about, like, real solutions, and it's interesting to hear that Jesse has that kind of solution. I
mean, it's an immediate, practical, protect yourself thing, and it's kind of like what you're wanting to do, which is to change what people allow themselves to think. Because most people don't allow themselves to think of segregation as a positive or reasonable, practical solution to a practical problem of violence and crime and backbiting and messed up government and stuff like that.
I think that's a very good point. I think no matter what, we need to have people discussing any sort of logical solution, and we need to make this a more pervasively discussed topic.
Oh wow! You know what? I'm just now reading in the Daily Mail that according to the sort of sloppy outlet, the Daily Mail, pretty liberal, he will not face the death penalty, nor will he face life without parole if convicted of murder, per a DA, the district attorney.
Yeah, it's gross.
Wow. The Supreme Court has said you cannot seek the death penalty against someone who committed a crime when they're 17 You can't even give them life without parole. So claimed Greg Willis, who's the Collin County, Collin, district attorney. That would not be something we could do even if we wanted to. What do you mean, even if we wanted to? I think he is expressing a can't do attitude. He shouldn't have pointed it out. I think that he's being, that may be white guilt talking right there.
Yeah, it sounds like he's coerced. It sounds like
that's not,
he doesn't have the balls to be doing his job.
The guts. Yeah. Yeah, because that's not right. I don't know if every murder deserves the death penalty. Because there were times like in the Bible where the first murder, at least that documented in the Bible, where Cain killed Abel, Cain did not get the death penalty from God.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think that's an interesting topic, but I don't think the death penalty is right. The last caller kind of brought up another point about Israel, and this isn't really about that. I don't like to discuss that stuff because, it's a good way to get yourself doxxed and everything. But
yeah,
I was listening to this Catholic bishop, and he brought up an interesting point about like the rapture, and he said at the end of times, the Jews the true Jews, the descendants of David, as they so called, and he said that they would return to Christ and they would beg for His forgiveness. I don't believe in that because I believe in God and I believe in the present. But I thought that was an interesting thought.
That is interesting. I've heard that the Jews who are Jews by blood or whatever. I heard that we don't know who they really are, like blood descendants from the ancient times. I don't know if that's.
Who knows?
I really don't think it's the blacks. To tell you that much.
Probably not.
I've heard that they were chosen, right? According to the Bible, they were chosen, and then through them, God is reaching all of us. And so there's the Christians who became, you could call it children of God by adoption, and then some of them will return. Yeah, nice. Whatever.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thought. Just something to float into your imagination and forget about.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you for your
All
call,
right,
man.
good talking to you, Hank.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Joseph in Missouri.
Yeah,
Call me again,
take
man.
Care. Bye.
Bye. That's the DA. Yeah, he looks like he would be kind of professional, but kind of a kiss-up. Am I wrong for judging him just by the looks and the words? Don't know. I'm talking about this DA who said that even if we wanted to seek life without parole or the death penalty and stuff like that. Whatever. I shake my head. You'll notice that the blacks make no bones about their racial animus motivation. Revenge. Throw the whole book at Derek Chauvin, for example, because he's white. And they did it because he's white. Pray for Derek Chauvin. Chin Up King, if you're watching. I don't know if he's allowed to watch the Hake Report over there in that prison. You know what I mean? And many such cases of persecution because of the scapegoating. I learned the word scapegoating that was used against Jews in Germany. That's what I learned in my history book in high school, that they were scapegoated. Well, now the scapegoating is against the whites in America and all these white countries. Crazy. So, chin up. Just as Joseph in the Bible was persecuted for being loved and favored by his father. His father played favorites. Isaac, I guess. Jacob. Israel? Yeah, Israel played favorites with his favorite son, and his brothers were jealous, threw him in prison. Sold him into slavery. And he went to prison, got Me Too'd unjustly, and he became the top man in the prison. I don't know if Derek Chauvin has that kind of character, but you know what I mean? I learned scapegoating not just now, that was in 1999, 1998, something like that. You guys. What a mess. Send Derek Derek Chauvin, right? An obvious globe t-shirt, Hake. He's watching in spirit, Hake. Isn't that sweet? Let me get to, real quick, Jeff in Louisiana, since we're on this topic. Jeff, thanks for calling, man. How you doing?
Hey, man. Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Doing well, thanks.
You know, they're trying. There was reports in the news that they were going to try to say that guy that killed the black guy, they're going to try to do a self-defense case for him.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out in Texas, there's a law. You know, you can't have weapons on school property.
Oh Lord.
Well, no, this is where it comes in. It's interesting.
I get you.
If you have a weapon, you cannot use it in self-defense.
Wow.
If you're on school property.
Whoa.
Or like
That's,
someone says,
I mean, I agree that that is disproportionate self-defense, quote unquote. If those guys, let's pretend that one of them was trying to, let's pretend that Austin Metcalf was getting overly aggressive with him. I doubt it, but maybe, I don't know. That is ridiculously overboard. That's an over-escalation. That's like the man in handcuffs is like struggling a little bit, and the cop shoots him in the back for that. That's like an overreaction. So, but interesting, man. That's crazy. I don't know if I agree with that law, but it's so crazy to me that they use laws that are unjust to mete out what would be the just outcome, which is he gets convicted of something, you know, or he can't use this self-defense fake idea. I think it seems fake to me.
Yeah, well, there's just you know, you can have it. Any weapon you have on you just can't get. If you go somewhere that has a sign that no weapons allowed, right? You cannot use a weapon for self-defense. There was a case a few years ago.
But imagine there's a mass shooter and you have a weapon that you're not supposed to have. You're using that weapon against the mass shooter, you know? Anyway, go ahead.
It's kind of like, that's what I was just bring up. There's a similar case that happened in another state that had this, and a woman carried a gun on her, all the time, and she went to the store, and the store said, can't have guns here. She went to her car, and she went in, or somebody robbing it, and she got shot.
Yeah.
Now, she could have used it there.
Exactly.
No, I'm saying by law, she could use it there.
Yep.
Because it's tit for tat, match what you got.
Yeah. I went to this event that was a gun-free zone, and I was fine with it because, that was just their policy, and it was just an event, and it was actually a pro-America event. And I was fine with that. But I don't like the notion of schools being a gun-free zone. More armed people is better, in my opinion. But you also have to have some... it's the poor character of the people. You're bringing up this... I mean, you agree with me, obviously. I mean, you just brought up this incident with this woman.
Yeah, if she would have had a gun... Not in her car, but on a person like Snore does, she wouldn't have died.
Yeah, maybe. She might have been able to defend herself.
May not have died.
Yeah.
But, man, I just want to bring it up real quick, but I just want to hit you with another story. I'm pretty sure you ever seen it. I didn't see much of it. I've seen a little thing on their day. There's a school, I think, is in Ohio or Iowa.
Okay.
One of those two is a high school. and they called in a bomb. They called in and says calling in a bomb threat. And there's two white cops, a male and female, went into office, and a black secretary said, "Y'all just wait here for there's a safety and security come. They got to let y'all in, all this kind of stuff." And the cops, the male cops, like said, "Do you know we're the police? We're over safety and security. You can't. They can't hold us here. We're over them." And she just goes off on a rant like, "Well, I don't know. That's what they tell me." She's like, "No one can blow him off." Well, then the principal comes in there, and the principal's a black lady too. And the cops is telling her, said, "Look, so we're tired of dealing with this. So when y'all call us, y'all don't want us in." She said, "We can't let you in." He said, "Some of our teachers in there getting beat up. I can't go back there to your head of security comes." She goes, "Nope." He said, that makes no sense. And it's like, he asked for the information, but you can tell these people are just racist, screwing with the white cops.
Wow.
But they didn't want to let them go anywhere. They wouldn't even let them into school, past the office.
On a power trip.
Yeah, there's a bomb threat called in. And she even went off on him saying, "Well, I want you," I don't feel like, the principal goes, "I don't feel safe talking to you. I don't feel like I'm in the safe zone."
Wow. You talking to the cops that way?
Yeah.
Man, these people are ridiculous.
Man, it's getting stupid out here with this racism crap. I mean, it's just this country's going down.
Yeah.
Since 2020. Since Biden got elected and George Floyd and all that crap, it just went down.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. They talking bad about Trump doing on terrorists and stuff. They had last thing I was going to know a whole joke.
Okay.
Do you know who Tiffany Cross is?
Tiffany Cross? It's not offhand, but it sounds familiar.
The black chick is on MSNBC.
Okay.
Well, she got fired from them in 2022, I think. Well, she's on CNN last night. And you remember Scott? You know who Scott Jennings is, right? Scott
Jennings?
Yeah.
Yeah, old time white newscaster.
Yeah, that he was in George Bush's cabinet.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was on there last night, and Tiffany Cross on there, and she was talking about how we want to conquer. We want to. Why they call us colonizers?
Huh.
That we want to colonize Greenland and all that stuff. And he's sitting there saying, "No, we didn't say that." And she goes down, she goes, "You don't," she's guest on CNN. She said, "Well, you're not in the political realm. Your opinion don't count." He said, "You got fired from your job. Your opinion don't count either." And she lost her freaking mind.
Oh, man.
It was just hilarious.
Terrible.
Anyway, man, have a good one. I just want to give you a quick call.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Right.
Bye. He got me. He got me so good. Tiffany Cross, a black lady. Drama. Let me read a few super chats before I get back to the calls, if you don't mind. Over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report, there may be some. I know that there was one over on Streamlabs. All right, G, says Greggatron. You gotta watch this. Show the JLP crew afterwards. Big shout out to Pinnochio's helicopter. I call him Georgia, Florida.
There's no such thing as racism. I grew up on a plantation. America is the best country on this side of heaven. You're living in your imagination. I got off the Democrat plantation. Our battle is a spiritual battle.
Really
Do you
nice.
love white people? But do you love white people?
Yes.
But do you love white people?
Hopefully.
What's he doing over there when he should be over here?
Very
He
nice.
did.
He did.
Maxine Waters is the wicked witch of the West.
Very
What a
nice.
mess.
What a mess. Thank you, Pinocchio's helicopter, and thank you, Greggatron, for the tip. He has his ear down to the train tracks, so he knows what's going on the internet, at least that portion of the internet. I don't normally call that the internet, but thank you, Greggatron. Very cool. Very fun. And it goes on and on and on. It's JLP's sayings. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so that's great. That's a super from Greggatron and Pinocchio's helicopter. That was KOON. Oops, I accidentally started the video again. Train Boogie. Okay, so if you want to find that, KOON, Train Boogie from Pinocchio's helicopter. Nice? Nice. I guess I would put K-N just for the sake of the channel. Because it's not the best word, but whatever. Oh, and look, I commented laughing, and he said, "Thanks for checking it out, man." Nice. Yeah, shout out to Greggatron. Okay, over on buymeacoffee.com/The Hake Report, Cesar, 3 coffees. Sup, Hake? Have you ever heard about a predominantly black town that got flooded on purpose by the government in order to create Lake Lanier or Lanier in Georgia? I don't know how you pronounce it. Lanier, or I don't know how to pronounce French. If it's French, it would be Lanier. Lanier. Maybe not. I don't know how to pronounce it. In Georgia, some blacks in the South believe a lot of black people died by drowning. I chuckle because it reminds me of the died by suicide thing. Committed suicide, died by suicide. To put it in a sort of a passive voice. I did some research that did not mention that. What do you think, Hake? Is it just black folklore? There's a whole lot of that. And not the good kind either. The town was called Oscarville. Oscarville. It wasn't Hispanic. In case you want to look it up, it's wild racist history. I roll looking up with a sly smile. Thank you, Cesar. Thanks for the tip. Something I'll have to check out. And Ronnie from Ohio asks, is being quote-unquote pro-white a good thing? Why or why not? I appreciate your opinion. As always, clink, cheers emoji. I will say, depends on the situation. It can be a good thing. It can be a bad thing. I would call it neither good nor bad. It depends on the spirit from which you go. If you're, you could call Jesse Lee pro-white, and that's a good thing. You could call, I shan't name names, but you could call an angry pro-white. And it's not bad that he's pro-white, but it's the anger that's bad. We need the white man back in power. I don't believe people emphasize that enough, said, I guess a caller. You didn't push back on that claim, and you seemed to concur with it. This is what prompted my question above. Nice. Thank you for mentioning what I said or what situation took place on the show that prompted you to ask this question. Yeah, I do concur with that. Wouldn't it be like refreshing, Ronnie, if Trump were to, or somebody, were to have in his cabinet just shamelessly all white men? Because race doesn't matter, right? Let's say race and let's pretend that race and gender doesn't matter. Some people think that it does matter. You need representation. But I don't necessarily think that's the case because they don't represent what's right. But if all white men and all those white men were like pretty based, relatively speaking, that would be really cool. They had a spirit of fairness that drove them, which is a very white thing. It's becoming less so, unfortunately. A lot of whites are losing their sense of fairness because the fake fairness is such a turnoff that they're just throwing out the baby with the bathwater, A lot of people turn in atheists because of things like that with the Christians, The phoniness of the Christians. So the phoniness of fairness and real justice for all is making them abandon stuff. They're actually abandoning their whiteness by trying to embrace their whiteness, Terrible. So yeah, but per capita, the whites are a little bit more, conservative Christian, if you will. Not that the conservative Christians get it right always, but they seem to be closer to the truth, or closer to what's practical, what works in the practical world on a practical level. For example, my parents, grandparents never drank, weren't into sex out of wedlock and stuff like that, and didn't cuss, worked, had good work ethic, lived frugally, pretty thrifty, responsible, paid off their credit cards every month, didn't spend more than they took in, like Greggatron brought up, and that just works. Whether or not their spirit was perfect, whether or not there was ever hypocrisy or anger or evil or any other of the sins, that just works better for a longer, more decent life on the, in the practical terms. You could live that way and still have no love and still go to HE double toothpicks, or be living in HE double toothpicks even while your life is functional like that. So it's not going to save your soul, but it's going to make for a society that's smoother. So that's why I support the white thing, if they're going to be white in that way. Ronnie from Ohio. No malice toward anyone. Just law and order, fairness, decency. That's why I agree with the white thing, because per capita, they're more likely to be like that. Thanks, Ronnie. Fair question, definitely, man. Always appreciate you, my brother or brother. Let me get back to some calls, guys. Chase in Tejas, Texas, is on the line over here. Chase, thanks for calling and holding in. Oh,
Thank God.
Thank God. I know. Yeah, you've been on hold
long
forever.
enough.
Indeed, it did.
So, what's up, Hake?
Hey. Chilling.
You want me to take a hit for our talk?
What type of hit? No, don't smoke pot before you talk.
TCP.
No, that's not the type of white that I want.
Nah, well, hey, so I got this situation.
Cool.
This is one chick, and she just was texting me as y'all were doing this.
Just was
And,
texting you, not just vasectomy, not just vasectomy, but just was texting me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man, whatever. Yeah.
I misheard you.
Yeah, she's more local. This other one's up in a different town.
Local as in
so-
crazy, or local as in lives nearby?
Lives nearby.
Yeah. Okay.
She's doing this little tease thing that she does with me, and then got this one that's just begging me to come back up there, begging me. I'm like, look, lady, I can't do it.
Good for you.
So I didn't buy her drugs. I didn't pay for her shit. She actually, excuse me, sorry.
Yeah.
Try not to cuss.
Thanks.
No, she actually bought it and said, I have these saved for you. I'm like, okay. What you try to do? You try to rope me back up there?
Yeah.
Because every time I come up there, I'm going to get stuck. And if I get stuck up there, then I'm going to lose money. So
You're going to lose money because you can't help but spend it on her?
no, I'm spending it on her. And when I don't spend it on her, she's going to get mad.
Yeah. You know what? You should definitely recognize your weakness and you're supposed to flee from temptation, not go to temptation. Not go and knowing that your ego is weak and subject to falling to temptation, you're not supposed to go towards the temptation. That's not what going towards the storm is.
Yeah, but the thing that is I just kind of sit here and I let one go, let one girl go.
Yeah.
And then, one hits me up because she knows that the other one's gone.
Oh.
Then get the other one hits me up here, and then she's upstairs, and then I'm like, okay. So, what you want me to do? You want me to hang out here? I'll hang out. We'll all sit around, do this, that.
And you let her in?
No, she's one of them will come to my house.
How do they know about each other and your single or not state? Why don't you live a more private life?
Because women are nosy.
Yeah, but because so they ask each other. You don't tell them, do you?
Not really.
Oh, you kind of do.
They make assumptions.
Yeah, that's for
assumptions.
sure. I know that.
Yeah. And so what they'll do is they'll try to run some kind of game on me. And
So
I'm like, yeah, you're not getting through to me.
So the player life is misery.
It's miserable.
Yeah.
As hell.
I'm glad I'm not a player.
Well, I mean,
At least not to your level.
Dude, see here, when I started listening to Jesse Lee Peterson,
Yeah.
and he was talking about that woman. It's funny because the girl that was just talking to me, and I'm not going to dox her or say her name or whatever. And
Thank you.
No problem. Shit, she, man, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, she actually was the first girl that ever told me that the devil is a woman. And I actually recorded her doing this. And this was a drug period in my life. And,
Yeah.
So I had a.
You were joking about the PCP, right? Or maybe I shouldn't ask that. Were you joking about the PCP?
No, I'm dead serious.
So
I'm
you are
doing that.
So are you like currently
right
like,
now.
At the present time, you are a little bit high?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So what prompted you to call me?
Well, I had a question for JLP, and then when the call didn't come through, I just said, okay, cool, I'll call Hake.
Nice. I'm happy to be your second choice. So, and what's your question?
Like that, man.
No, you're fine. What's your question?
Well, Man, I really, really, honestly, man, I want to just run these girls off and be like, don't come back, go away. But if I do that, then I'm gonna get all into myself, and then I won't go find a good one. Then I'll just keep screwing these. I just keep doing this with these random.
You'll keep sleeping around. So if you run off these no good women who are being with a no good man, then you will get all mopey and into yourself and into like drugs and whatever else, and not go out and find a good woman.
Well,
that's what you're predicting. That's what the devil is telling you about. If you do the right thing by running off these gals, you're concerned that you're not gonna have the strength and willpower and presence of mind to make your life fine. Why are you thinking that you need to find a good woman?
It's not to have someone clean the house. So, like, check this out, man.
Do you have enough money for drugs? Do you have enough money for a maid?
Well, I don't even pay her. I don't pay her. She just comes around.
Oh, she brings you free drugs?
Yeah. Well,
so you don't pay. You don't pay for your drugs? Sorry, kids.
No. Well, this is a bad conversation.
No, it is. You're right. Let's get away from this conversation.
My kitchen is immaculate. I'm standing in it right now. It's immaculate.
But it's so selfish. And don't have a dirty kitchen. I have a dirty room, and I'm fine in it. And
okay.
And it's you're gonna be fine with a dirty kitchen, man.
Yeah, but I hate cleaning this.
You're living in. Don't clean it then.
Well, I got these dogs. Got to take care of these dogs, and then
dogs don't mind a dirty kitchen.
No, they'll actually eat crap off the floor.
Oh, terrible. Well, you'll have faith. Now, do what you want.
So here's the deal. It's kicking in now. So she stayed and then left. Now she's literally just texting me and telling other girl in the other town saying, "Come up here. I got these for you." I'm thinking, should I go?
No, I don't think so.
It's a free week. Well, I mean, dude, I'm not going to sit here and be horny. Like, jack off. What am I gonna do?
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Don't be talking like that. Yeah, you realize that you shouldn't cuss in front of the kids, but now you're talking like that in front of the kids. Okay.
Yeah. But it's not my crowd. My crowd. We just talk.
I know. I get it. No, I get it. That you can talk like that on the Anchor Baby after hours. I don't know if that's true. Okay.
Well,
you're living in doubt. You're living in believing that you don't have the ability to do the right thing and be alone. And so you wanna be with these gals. So go be with those gals and live in your player's hell.
Well,
because you're every solution that you're shooting down because you don't think that you can be by yourself without self-indulging by yourself. And so you just basically have resigned yourself to degeneracy because you're living in you're believing the father of lies, listening to the father of lies. I get it. I totally get it.
Okay.
And thanks for the call, man.
Yeah. Hey.
It sounds like you're not asking for my advice because you gave me two choices. Should I stay or should I go? If I stay, I don't want to stay because this is what I'm going to do, you think. And if I go, it's going to be miserable because these women are hell. So
you want to hear the story? I'll try to keep it as clean as I can.
No, actually, I got to run.
No. Well, I'm not going to talk about like the actions, like of the physical actions with these women. I'm just going to talk about the people around these women. So
But the point is not about the women. I don't care. I don't care about the women. It's the point. The problem. Your problem is you, and you're listening to your mind about I don't want to stay home and boop, off. So so I'm in a conundrum because I want to mooch off of this woman, but I don't want to mooch off of this woman because this woman is hell too. So you're you're living in a doomer mindset. You're living in a self-fulfilling prophecy because you're listening to your doubt-filled self that you don't want to do the right thing and you can't do the right thing.
Well, what it is that when you get group of people and you're in the room and you get the one chick and she's all up on you and you're like, hey, that.
That's why you don't be with the group.
Well, no, but I mean, it's fun. It's fun. It's fun.
It's fun until it's
stress. Right. Well, there were shotgun shells in the back of my truck. That was the part that pissed me off the most. I mean, sorry. It made me mad.
You're telling a disjointed story. I'm only getting fragments and you're high. I got to run. Call me again, man.
Hey,
call me later.
Hold.
No, I got to go. Take care, Chase.
Okay.
Call me again.
All right.
Call me when you're sober.
Thanks, man.
All right, yeah,
yes,
take
sir.
care.
All right.
Bye. What a mess. I definitely get his situation. I totally relate, man. I totally relate. Isn't it interesting that it's a can't do attitude? It's like Trump. This reminds me of Trump doing the right thing, the hard right thing, the hard righteous way. And then there's the doomer, drug addict, sex addict people who want to don't tariff against these countries just because they're taking advantage of us. Don't stop the illegals just because they're taking advantage of us and violating our laws and not bringing America into America. They're bringing their country's evil spirits into America. Only we have enough evil spirits without bringing more countries' evil spirits in America, you know? So doing the right thing, Trump has a can-do attitude. We can do it. Have faith. Be patient and courageous. Chase in Tejas. Or be a panican. More like a panic can't. Trace is being a panic can't. I totally get it. Hake spins the call into a Trump ad. LOL. Kevin Howe, my favorite mod. Shout out to Carver. He's okay. Carver's old news. Out with the old and in with the new. Shout out to Carver. Have a can-do attitude. I notice, too, I totally relate to him, guys, that, like I told this story, I think, in church or something, or whatever, that Jesse will say something. Don't believe any thought. Don't obey any thought. I can't do that. Having a can't-do attitude. I like that better than cannot do, although can't do is tricky because it can be confused with can do, but it's can't do. Have a can-do attitude like Trump, like Jesus, like Paul in Philippians, right? I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can't do it on my own. I can't stop believing the thoughts. I can't stop this or that mess, drugs and overeating or whatever. Don't be a panic can. Don't be a panic can't. I need some Mary Ice Hopkins to cleanse the room. I know, he's awesome. I don't like your name, by the way, but I tell you that all the time, so you know. Right. Pardon the dirtiness of his call, but it was deep. Even to me. It was like a reflection, a caricature of how everybody is. Versus can't do attitude. Full of doubt, all doubt. The man who doubts is a double-minded man, unstable in all his ways. The Bible says, refresh this where I'm here. The man who doubts should not expect anything. I know where it is. It's in James 1. James 1. Yeah, I know. I grew up on NIV. James, a servant of God, blah, blah, blah. Count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. Knowing this, the trying of your faith worketh patience. Let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, that giveth all men liberally wisdom, and upbraideth not. Whatever upbraideth is, I forget what it is. Something like pulls you out, uproots you. And it shall be given him, but let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is, like doubts, is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed, blown and buffeted by the waves. I'm being all expressive. I shake my head. For let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Let the brother of low degree rejoice that he is exalted, but the rich in that he is made low, because as the flower of the grass, he shall pass away. The grass withers and the flowers fade. Something like that. Nice. For the sun is no sooner rising with a burning heat, but it withers the grass, and the flower thereof falls, and the grace of the fashion of it perishes. So also the rich man fades in all his ways. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life. Pardon me for these ads, which the Lord has promised to him who loves him. Let no man say when he's tempted, I am tempted by God. God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempteth he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then the lust conceives and brings forth sin, and sin, when finished, brings forth death. Do not err, my beloved brethren. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, in whom there is no variableness, neither shadow of turning. Oh, man. Someone get Bill. I guess that's my cue that I should stop reading the Bible to you guys. Or Bill or Nick. I just lost my screen. It's horrible. It went black. Bill knew what to do. In the meantime, I got to get back to the calls. Beautiful Maze in Dayton, Ohio is on the line here. Maze, thanks for calling and holding. What's up? Hey.
Hello?
Yes, hi.
Yeah, I heard the heathen yesterday.
Gracias. Which heathen?
The one that loves to call people savages.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that heathen.
But his problem, you know what his problem is?
What's his problem?
His problem is that his history is his problem.
His history
Not
is his
Maxine
problem?
Waters and all those people that he complained about and separation. That was a separation at one time.
Okay.
But somebody came and destroyed it, so they put people to have to live around each other again. If he did his history and not denying it, and then it's a problem, he could look at it and see it, and he might be the problem still. That he want to separate. And you too, if you want to separate. Check your history, just as I said. Look in the mirror, tell us about it. Stop denying it and stop looking at it.
But what good would that have done Austin Metcalf, for example?
Austin Metcalf, the same good it would have did Dylan Roof went in that church and shot some people. And you want him free on the street too, don't you?
Not necessarily. No, I mean... No.
Could it be the same thing? Or if not, we
That
don't
doesn't
know
make
what
sense. That's not what
You-
good.
you mad?
You need to explain that a little bit better. What
It's
good would it
mad.
have done Austin Metcalf to look at his history rather than just to stay away from that black guy?
Well, if somebody would stay away from what?
The black guy.
What black guy?
The black guy who allegedly stabbed him in the heart and killed him.
Just like those people in Ohio, if they wouldn't have came to their community in Cincinnati and pushed them people out of the way, one of them probably been dead too. But they was graceful enough to not kill them. They let them out so they can know to not come back again. And I wonder where Markey is doing those type of situations. See, he sit and he's just like I say, the Southern strategy. Lee Atwater, you look it up, come back and educate your people about what he was doing. That's today. So in order for you to find out,
you're talking in a very roundabout way. You seem to just
No.
seem
I'm
only
saying-
to want to talk about what you want to talk about and not answer
let
my
them
question.
talk about what they want to talk about.
I know,
so my
but I asked you a question and you're pretending to answer it, but you're
I
not
just gave you an
answering
answer.
it. You didn't
I
give
just
me an
gave you an
answer.
answer.
You did not give me any answer.
Well, then ask me again and I'll give you an answer.
Say again?
I did give you an answer. You just was not listening.
You did not give me any
And I
answer.
like my answer.
No, it didn't. You did not give me any answer.
What did you ask me, James? Ask me again.
I asked you, what good would it have done Austin Metcalf to look at his history?
If Austin Metcalf was doing something he had no business, maybe he wouldn't have been doing what he was doing. So we don't know what happened. He has a twin brother, don't he?
Right, but you didn't answer
But
the
they know what
question.
they were doing.
So you can't answer the question.
They know what they were doing until you find out. You have nothing to say.
No, you
about the whole
have
situation.
you
But
sort
Mark
of.
is mad because of the money that the
So you
people
don't know what good it would have done.
You don't either. You don't either.
I
Or
didn't.
either
I
way
didn't
you
make
want-
any claim that this is a
But
solution.
you're making a claim. It's like, oh, we mad. Let's go. Those people, we need to separate. What you
Right.
separating?
I'm not mad in
No, what you-
separating. I'm not mad in separating. I'm separating
no,
out.
Mark.
I'm
I'm saying your history
separating
is your-
because it's a calm, decent solution.
No. Your history is your problem that you don't want to look at.
It's not a problem.
Yes, it is your problem. Not mine. It's your problem.
How-
Because when it comes to
it's-
Maxine
it's-
Waters,
Why are you thinking about it then?
is Obama, Maxine
I'm not
Waters,
thinking
and all
about.
those.
I'm not thinking about your fake history that you keep on
I never
citing.
no fake history.
Yeah, it is.
So how do we know? How
It
do we
seems
know
to be.
John F.
It
Kennedy
seems
got
like
shot?
it seems like it's your problem, not mine.
No. Don't get upset. Don't
Yeah,
stay
huh?
on in here. Don't run now. Don't stop. Get off. Don't get upset. You
I'm
can't
not
take the
upset.
truth.
You're bringing
Well,
up a history that's not real.
It's your none of my. No,
It's
whose
not my
history is
history.
important?
It's your
Everybody's
history.
just
It's
full.
your fake history. I'm not concerned about it.
About it. What's fake about it?
Everything.
What? Tell me what's fake about it.
Black victimhood.
Yes, right.
Yes.
And just like I told you, look up Lee.
Beautiful Lee. Beautiful,
Water.
beautiful
And
General
he's
Lee.
He's explaining your history to you and how you're doing it, and you're still doing it today. So, Jay, how do you know about your history?
I don't have a
before you-
history.
Before you were born, how do you know about your family history or whatever kind of history you know about? How do you know?
I
You
don't
just woke
know.
up and
I don't
and
know.
just-
My mother tells me stuff, and I'm not sure if she's telling me the truth.
Well, I'm just saying, but it's still your history, right?
No, it's not even written down. It's just.
Oh, well, then the
it's,
history that
it's
we talk
orally,
about is written down.
It's oral
But you wanna
tradition from my
destroy it.
mother.
You want to destroy it so it won't be known. But
Why are women? Why are women all into the past and
Here we go about women.
repeating this fake past?
No.
Yes,
It's not about women.
yes.
'Cause-
It
because
is.
when
That's
were-
you, and it's my mom talking about
your
stuff
mom,
that
your mother.
my mom.
That's different.
Because my mom tells me different
Did I
things,
hit a string like she might
and
hit on you?
it's just nice, vain things, whatever. And then you bring up your nice, vain things about,
And the hypocrite-
and you act like it's my problem.
It is y'all problem.
How?
Y'all just y'all problem.
What's wrong? What's the problem with it?
That's the problem of your history. If you looked at it, it's your problem.
It's your history.
And everybody
It's
else,
not mine.
but you want to blame everybody else for what they do. And then when it comes to Keith,
Your history is in your head. You're calling it mine.
the things that you're looking at today,
I'm not looking at anything.
and you thinking it's right.
I mean, I do sometimes
when the man
look up.
died in New York, when that soldier
I
died
do
in New York,
sometimes look up the different
You don't even think people-
horror
you don't-
stories that you people bring up throughout
no,
history.
you don't like they're not stories. That's true.
Yeah, they're fake stories.
They're not fake.
Yeah, huh?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, Jesse's story was fake too.
Maybe, I don't know. I can't tell.
Oh yeah, they're fake. But when you hear
And so how come Jesse's story is fake but your history is real? And
Because
you call it mine.
because we live the same history and in the same place.
No.
And some of the things he tells are lies.
Yeah, but
That's why I know.
No, you harbor
I'm a
resentment.
living proof of what things that happened back in those days.
You harbor resentment about that
Exactly.
stuff.
No. But I have another question for you.
Okay, yeah.
When you hear Keith and you hear
It's
other one?
Ken now.
well, whatever. He's a Ken doll now. He don't change up like Barbie.
But anyway, yeah, Keith from Illinois, now known as Ken.
When you hear him talk about Maxine Waters, Obama, and BLM, and all those people, what are you supposed to do about it?
We're supposed to recognize that they are. We're supposed to recognize that they are liars and that they have misled the blacks, and so for that reason, we should be patient with the blacks because they've been misled and lied to.
So now you sound like, you know what you sound like?
What?
You are above to tell blacks what to do.
Yeah, I am.
But
I'm looking down from the mountaintop upon these poor blacks down in the valley, and I can tell them, blacks, X.
And Rick is another one.
You've been lied to.
So what I'm saying,
blacks. Don't believe them. Leave them. Blacks, X. I'm looking down on the valley and calling down to you, Mays. Don't listen to Al Sharpton.
Do you think Tarzan was real?
Huh?
Do you think Tarzan was a real person?
Who?
Tarzan.
Say again?
It's a TV show since Keith loved TV. Do you think Rosewood were real?
Oh.
Or was it a movie that was telling the truth?
I have no idea. I didn't watch it.
Your history is your problem, and until y'all solve it, we wouldn't be seeing the things we seeing today. Every 50 years, you do something stupid like what we're looking at now. And then you look at the Great White.
So you blame. Is it me, or are you blaming black on white crime? You're blaming white history for black on white crime?
No, I'm telling you, your history is your problem.
No, I don't get it.
But you want to take the books out of the classroom. You want to take everything out of the classroom.
A lot of those books are fake news. You know that. You know that blacks lie and exaggerate, and women do, and liberals do. And tell only partial part of the truth. They twist. They don't tell the whole truth.
What do your people do?
Whites tell the whole truth.
A lie every day. Make a big mistake and blame somebody else.
How about this, Maze? How about this, Maze? Maze. How about this, Maze? Let God be true and every man a liar, including your history that you think is mine.
You're a heathen, that's what you are. And if I got a IQ of a 3,
do you like my solution? No. Let God be true and every man a liar?
No, y'all don't believe in no God.
I know, but
that's why I say heathen don't believe in God.
But you're not answering my question. You're not answering. Do you like let God be true and every man a liar?
You know nothing you talk about God didn't say. You talk about what the Bible says.
But you're not answering my question.
Let every man be what?
Let God be true and every man and woman, including Mays, a liar.
No, everybody's not a liar.
Okay, well, yes, they are. The Bible says, well, the saying goes, let God be true and every man a liar. I think that the saying...
What scripture did you get that out of?
The scripture of old wise men saying wise things as opposed to Mays. I made it up, yeah, because let God be true and every man a liar is a wiser saying than... Y'all's problem is y'all's history that y'all won't face.
Let's not do what the heathens do, or what the heathens did.
Maze, I had a question for you, actually.
What's that?
You know, when you tell us whites to look at what we ourselves and what we do, knowing that we do the same thing that what blacks do, are we not? Who's gonna love the blacks enough to tell them the truth that they gotta snap out of it, black people?
What are you trying to tell them? Don't be like we used to be. Is that what you're trying to tell black people?
No, don't be.
Are you telling them something like that?
No,
you're not telling them anything.
Right, what's wrong?
Stop denying your own history and then tell them we need to. Y'all, you say black people, you not be like we used to be, and don't do what we did. That's racism. And then you be doing yourself a favor.
So you agree that we should love black people enough to tell them the truth that they're a mess.
You go to tell black people that what they're criminals and they do this, and what you did, your history shows what happened, but you don't want to admit it. So when you do that, you'll be doing a good job.
But you sound like you want to blame whites for how blacks are.
No, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just telling you want to do something.
But you keep on getting on whites for talking about what blacks are.
I'm not getting on anything.
You're getting on my show to criticize black people who agree to criticize beautiful Ken from Illinois, formerly known as Keith, and beautiful. What's that guy's name?
What you want to
from
hear
Hampton,
to make you
Virginia?
Happy.
Rick, beautiful Rick.
Nothing about
Beautiful.
always
You want to
talking bad
jump
about
on?
black people.
You want to jump down the throat of beautiful Rick from Hampton, VA, who just expresses
Rick
love.
don't know nothing.
He
He don't
expresses
know nothing.
love
He just
for
on here
black
talking.
people.
He just bringing you
He
garbage.
says that
just
black
bringing you
people.
something.
He says that
He's
black.
just bringing you things to make hate
Maze.
people. That's what he's doing.
Okay, let me see. Let me see
Why
if I
don't I
can.
feel you?
Maze. Let me just see if I can say this
Why don't I feel
short and sweet.
Why don't I feel CWPs? Now you tell me why I don't feel her.
Let me.
I don't look at
Maze.
every crime y'all commit. I don't look at take it as a group.
Good.
The Southern Poverty and Lost Center and all them different people
Right,
and all
Maze,
the things you've
Maze,
done.
Maze.
It's written down.
Maze.
What?
What's wrong with loving blacks enough to tell them the truth on the part of
Same
whites?
thing. What's wrong with other people telling CWPs the truth and they accept it?
Nothing was wrong with that. Now, what's
There's
wrong?
nothing wrong with that. So when next time you come across Keith them,
Right.
you tell them that
Maze.
you don't want y'all to do what we did.
You're not answering, but you never answered my question.
I did answer your question.
No, you didn't.
What I didn't answer? Tell me.
You didn't answer what's wrong with loving with whites and blacks who love whites. What's wrong with us, we decent-hearted whites and blacks, telling the blacks the truth?
What's wrong with each other telling the truth? Blacks telling the whites.
Are you saying that there's
whites telling
nothing?
the blacks the truth. What's wrong with that?
Are you? So you're saying
Nothing wrong with
that?
it.
So do you agree with me that there's nothing wrong with loving blacks enough to tell them the truth?
Yeah, I sure do. Do you agree with me that there's nothing wrong with telling Caucasians? There's nothing wrong with telling them the truth.
Yes, I totally agree with you, Maze.
And it's like I just said it, James. You didn't hear me. I said if you get on here and you tell people like Keith them, we don't want y'all to do like we did.
Keith, now known as Ken.
Well, I said you.
But you're trying to dictate how we tell the truth, and that's not right.
That's
Typical. You're being kind of. Don't you think you're being?
He don't even think the slave came on the ship. He think they walked across the water.
Yeah, that's funny.
Don't
you think that it's?
I want to tell you how bright he is.
Maze.
What?
Don't you think that it's? Don't you think it's kind of controlling of you to try to tell us how to tell the truth? You have to say, "Oh, don't be like what we did."
That's right.
But
So
what if I just want to say it the way that I see to say it?
God,
you are not God that you should dictate.
I am not God.
That you should
and
dictate.
You are not either.
Right, and you shouldn't be dictating
whichever one you want to take.
You shouldn't be dictating how I and Ken, formerly known as Keith, and beautiful Rick, tell the truth about the black people.
That was my history, James. If I came here, did all of that, and it was my history.
But you agreed that it's not a thing wrong with loving blacks enough to tell them the truth, that they're a mess.
Stuff like that.
Maze, Maze, do you not hear me when I'm talking?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What did you say?
You agreed with me that there's nothing wrong with Rick and Ken and I and other whites telling the truth and the beautiful truth to blacks that they're their own problem. We're not their problem.
We're not your problem either.
Right. And so you agree with us.
When you get it there, we can't agree. When you tell Ken, and you can tell Rick, and when you can tell all of the other ones that wants to be like you, don't be like us.
Why not? Why would I tell them that?
Being like you is what?
Loving truth, justice, and the American way.
Really? That's why the world upset with you?
Yes.
Because of what your president is doing now?
The world crucified Jesus, by the way.
Well, really.
Mm-hmm.
The world didn't crucify Jesus.
Yeah, we all did.
It's just like I said, do you pray to your Bible or do you pray to who?
The Lord
Saying in your
God.
Bible is nothing he had to say. And the Sabbath is not on Sunday. The Sabbath is on Saturday, if you didn't know it.
I know that. Sabado. Sabado.
Who?
Sabbath.
Not a woman, but about a man.
But we can still go to church on Sunday and rest on Saturday.
So when you hear somebody separating, it was already a separation. So put things like back the way they were in the beginning, and they can still be a separation. But then it'll be a messed up separation because biracial kids.
I know. Shout out.
Don't think you all do.
Yeah.
They know their history from both sides.
Oh, I am remiss in getting to the D live.
I'm remiss. So you tell Mark there was a separation, but what happened in the separation that he won't admit, and he's afraid of his own history. Don't try to put it on me.
Whatever. It's your history.
Because all people savages.
Oh, I forgot to
he's
open
the heathen. So are you finished, Jane?
Yeah.
So did we come to agreement?
Yep. We did.
So the next time you hear one reporting like Chief and all of those people, what you say? And Rick, come on here screaming and hollering about Maxine Waters. Ask them what you supposed to do, but hate them.
No, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to hate.
What does God's law say about hate?
Anyone who hates is a murderer.
Love your enemy.
Yep, that's right.
And we're not your enemy. So who is he talking to saying love your enemy? And when was those things put out? His law put out before you was born and I was born. But you know about them, right? Because you read about them. So that's a lie too.
Whatever. I don't really follow your point. You're starting.
I hear you babbling along about somebody killing somebody, but as I say, you expunge y'all wrong, and you put other people's stuff out in the street.
Okay. I don't know. Whatever.
Go yours, just like you show everybody else. You'll be doing yourself a favor when you're looking in the mirror.
Nice.
And then if you have a son one day, tell him, don't be like me. Be better than me. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Is that what you told your kids? Don't be like me, be better than me?
What do you mean?
Did you tell your kids, don't be like me, be better than me?
Yes.
You told them that?
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Did they have they ended up better than you?
They don't grow up like Rick them. They don't grow up on in the country road with no lights on. They don't have to have people to tell them what to do.
I don't.
And they have their own, so they don't have to worry about somebody else trying to give them something. Which y'all think somebody giving something, but you're looking at the wrong person. The people that are getting, just like I said, the welfare baby, don't look like us.
Are you talking about beautiful Elon Musk?
Well, how do you know who I'm talking about?
Because you call him. You have a tradition of calling him the welfare baby.
That's what I'm going to call him.
Right.
Because he took your
I gotta run, Maze. We've been talking too long.
Yeah, we sure have. So just tell those that don't like it that it's not my problem. And if I got a IQ of 3. He has no IQ at all, so 3 is better than 0. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Bye. What a mess. Real quick, I got to get to Alan in Michigan. Alan, thank you for calling and holding there. What's up?
Oh, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah.
That was an interesting call from Mace.
Yeah.
I was... oh, gosh, I call up with a couple of ideas, and then I hear the rest of it, and I start going, oh, yeah, I got to say this, I got to say that.
I know.
I will start out by saying the Hake report. I look at it also as a forum because you're getting information from calls,
right,
from the coffee thing and other people, and that's why I kind of consider it a forum. Don't change the name. I mean, no, but I just enjoy that. That's my thinking on it.
Cool,
okay?
Man. Yeah.
Enough said on that. Now, this was it Joseph from Missouri.
Yeah, Joseph from Missouri wanted to ship them out.
Yeah. I lived in a suburb of Chicago. I was born and raised in a suburb of Chicago.
Yeah.
And I remember when Chicago was called the city of neighborhoods. There were German neighborhoods. There were Lithuanian, Polish neighborhoods, real big. And I remember as a child, probably about 10 or 12 years old, we were driving through a black neighborhood. And it would just look like any other neighborhood, except most of the people were black. The buildings were old, but then a lot of old buildings in Chicago, they weren't wrecked or decrepit or anything. Dress shop, barber shop, everything that you would see in a white neighborhood or any neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell him, that it didn't always used to be so dysfunctional and violent and criminal and and hateful. The black people, the black so-called community. Yep.
Exactly. And, well, as a side note, I think I had talked about a friend down in Louisiana. His family used to have a black lady come over once a week to have dinner. And but that black lady who said, we don't pick cotton anymore, that's been on the news so much. Guess what my white friend used to do as a young man when he was a teenager? He and his friends would go out and they had to pick cotton.
Well, nice. Yeah, exactly. There was a Phil Robertson who's, I think he's sick right now. I think he might, I don't know what type of health issue he's going through, but he was on the Fallen State, I think, with Jesse Lee Peterson. And he said that he used to pick cotton or something with the blacks. He said, because we were white trash. They were called, I guess, back then.
Yeah.
And although it's a little bit rougher for a white man to bear up under that brutal sun. We can't take as much sunshine as the blacks. Shout out.
Yes, and this was in around Ville Platte, which is right in the middle of the state. And well, my friend's first language was French. I mean, that's the way it was down there.
Yeah.
I was not aware, and is this correct that the Jesse P. Lee, I haven't listened to enough of his broadcast to know a lot.
Right.
But did he actually advocate the idea of separation rather
Yeah.
than segregation?
Yeah, separation or segregation, yes.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
That's interesting. Yeah, because
because
in
look
the
at the
script-
situation
Yeah.
right now. It's not worth the risk. And you look at letting them into the government and stuff like that. Aside from exceptions, of course, like Clarence Thomas, but for the most part, they're just a mess. Including there's like rhinos who are black. It has not been a plus for the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be such
Scripture
kiss-ups.
seems to indicate that this is going to happen. Now, I don't know if Jesse picked this up from, he knows Scripture, my goodness.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
in Jeremiah 50, it talks about, I'm just paraphrasing, that at the end of the age, this I'll cut off the sword from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest, we know that's the end of the world. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn every one to his people, and they shall flee every one to his own land. So
Yep.
this is not necessarily going to be forced. Oh, by the way, that sickle thing,
Yep.
yeah, and it also in the 23rd verse it talks about the hammer of Babylon. Now, what is the symbol of Babylon? Hammer and sickle.
Whoa. Dang, communists. Wow. Interesting, man.
Yeah.
You know, I got to keep it moving, Alan. It's
You
fun
go ahead. I'm
talking
finished.
with you.
Well, I would only say one thing. I appreciate that you're being so gentle with that drug user. I felt bad for him. He was obviously drugged up.
Yeah.
And I hope he gets away from drugs, and I'll just leave it at that.
Me
And
too,
thanks
man.
for taking my call.
All right. Thank you, Alan in Michigan. Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Yeah, have faith, Chase in Tejas. You don't have to believe that thought that I don't want to be sitting at home bleeping all day. You don't have to believe that thought, and that might not necessarily be what you do. And let's say that you do that, you'll find out that, it's better than catching hell with these evil people taking drugs and freeloading off of this evil woman. And let's not say it's better. It's whatever. Have faith. What a mess. I gotta get to Mark in Los Angeles, California. Mark.
Yes, sir.
Hey.
How are you?
Fine.
I wanted to know if you were aware of a petition going around to free Derek Chauvin. The petition will be presented to President Trump. Are you familiar with this?
I was not. Thank you for the tip on that. I shall look into it. I heard that based Ben Shapiro was calling for him to be pardoned.
Yeah, that's the guy you got to contact. Well, not him directly, but his group, Daily, whatever it's called.
Now that won't do everything because a lot of this is state so-called crimes, and the state is so evil. How are we going to get him freed from the state prison?
Well, we'll get hopefully President Trump probably toward the end of his term will do, if he's going to do it at all. I'm sure he'll wait to the end of his term to release Derek Chauvin from the federal charges.
Right.
And I think once that happens, there's a hope that he may be able to get a new trial and get our white brother out of there.
You know, I personally find it refreshing that a intellectual Jewish guy, politically correct guy, like he's fairly politically correct, Ben Shapiro,
right,
would say something like that. I think that's kind of a positive sign. I don't expect total justice for Derek Chauvin, total freedom, but that's kind of like a glimmer of hope that there are sensible people seeing through the phoniness of that kangaroo court that he was put through.
Well, you have to remember, I studied the case a little bit. The jurors on his case in Minneapolis were ready to free him.
Really?
But there was,
Are you sure?
But there was, I'm positive. They were so intimidated by the public outrage.
Where did you get that? Yeah,
I think I may have read it in Breitbart. This is going back a few years because that's sort of an old story, and it's believable. And they have a
there may have been some. There may have been some who were like, "This is not a just prosecution." Yeah, interesting.
That would have meant a hung jury, but I think the majority of the jury wanted to let him go. I know that there was a lot of pressure, and the state attorney general is an Antifa supporter.
Yeah, Keith Ellison, a Muslim, light-skinned, black, radical, hate-filled,
white hater,
evil person, and he was he was sitting in court every single day, well, I don't know if it was every single day. I'm exaggerating, but he was in court. You saw him on the TV, and it was ridiculous.
Do you notice? You just made me think of something. The prosecutors and 3 of the 4 charges or trials against President Trump are Negroes. And if you noticed, at least the one in New York, the fat woman, Letitia James, she made her presence known at Trump's trial.
Yep.
Even though it was all, washed away.
Yeah, they are. It's about glory and revenge and hate. For the white man, white man. Yep.
And they're getting more motivated to hate whitey as time goes on.
I know.
The children Negro children that are being born today, if they're not indoctrinated to hate whitey in their families, if they have a father, who knows? But in their mother's raising of them are going to tell them to hate whites. And the public schools are basically indoctrination centers against white people.
Yep, totally.
Another one of your competitors that told me or that mentioned on his show about the Chauvin petition doesn't like Shapiro and said that he's under the impression Shapiro's doing this to get as many names as he can to subscribe to his
I mean, I could see that there could be. I mean, I could imagine somebody like him or anybody having not pure intentions. I can't say, but I don't even care. I like that he did it because that indicates that's how a lot of people are thinking.
I mean, I'm going to sign it.
Yeah.
The thing is about Shapiro though, he knows that if things in America get worse with the the problem race, that he can always go to Israel. He's got a place to go. There is no white homeland.
Right.
There's a Jewish homeland, but there's no white homeland. And I'm hopefully, probably against hope, that we can establish a white ethnic state. I guarantee if they set that up, it would be overloaded with whites. There are so many whites who don't want to live amongst these people.
Right.
They would flock to that state, and everybody knows. It's like we try to prevent mixing, and they go out of their way to push themselves on us. That's why I would I don't want to ever talk to Maeve, but you should ask her someday, why do you go where you're not wanted? Why do you people have sit-ins? Well, they used to.
Yeah, that's because of anger. You wouldn't believe what anger and it's kind of like a boyfriend or girlfriend or wannabe boyfriend or wannabe girlfriend who imposes on a girl or a guy, and it's that type of love hate.
It's a fake love.
Fake love, definitely totally fake love. Yeah, people want to impose on one another when they're angry like that.
And I would guess, I mean, this is just my maybe you could say my imagination, but I believe that if there was a poll taken amongst whites only, would you want to return to segregation? I have to believe the majority of whites would say yes after getting a taste of integration. Before 60 years ago.
But we have to break their mind, because people have a mental block that this is a terrible thing even to think So people don't allow themselves to think it. That's why I appreciate people like Jesse who breaks through the training. Your mind is trained, and it won't break training unless somebody helps or some little bit of light comes in to open up your mind to things like that, you know?
I could tell you, I know I'm older than you.
Yeah.
Before the civil rights bills passed in the 60s, life in America was peaceful. I mean, you know, everything was pretty much
the crime was low.
It sure was. And black families weren't, single parent moms. They did exist, but they were small in number. It was after the civil rights bill that everything started going down.
Yep.
And not only with the race issue, but from that movement, the woman's movement, the homo movement, and all these other, the Mexican movement, all these other movements started from the civil rights bill. And the civil rights bill got its origin from the Communist Party.
Indeed.
I wanted to ask you real quick, did you read those books I sent you?
I have them I have not read them, but I do have them handy.
Yeah, and one last thing. If I guess you don't like to read, but I was going to recommend them. I mean, if you're interested in reading a book, I have another one I could tell you to read that you might like.
Send me an email if you can, thehakereport@gmail.com. If you do email.
Okay, you don't want me to say it over the air?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Mark.
Because you got it. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. Bye. I have super chats, I think, that I can squeeze in over here. Everybody. Oh, look. There's me. Actually, I can't. I have to read them over on the D-Live. I have to read the D-Live ones off screen because they are off screen. Nazulium, I read his. He gave another diamond saying, I'm high on life and welding fumes. I'm high on life and welding fumes. And something else that I shall not say. Thank you, Nazulium. Appreciate it. They say, the Bible says, I've quoted it before. I hate to quote it, honestly, but it's in the Bible. It's a fact. The Bible says, do not be drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit, which is a nice sentiment, isn't it? Jeff from Tejas, this is the best episode I've tuned into. Hard to decide which caller is worse, the crankhead in Texas or the angry black lady. Just kidding, it's the crankhead. He's one of the capital B bad, capital W whites. He's one of the bad whites. I suppose that's, I get what you're saying, Jeff in Texas. Chase in Texas was an interesting call. Although it's best to be sober so you can have a clearer conversation. I think. Nice. And then over in, I already read that. What am I thinking? Sweet. What's up, Facebook crew? Lisa, good afternoon from the Northeast FBC Facebook crew. It's called encroachment, she says. Yeah, don't encroach. It's not necessary. Let me get ready over here, because we are starting to feel the need to start to close up shop. I know it's not even 50 yet. It's not even 10 till, but I have to be done by 5 till. So that's why I'm doing that. Joel Friday TV is coming up next, is the plan. Let me set up the redirect over if you're on YouTube. And he is not on Rumble, okay? So you cannot find him on Rumble at this time. The breakdown of bad cops and angry blacks, I believe, is his story, okay? That is Joel Friday TV. This is his last day of the week. I encourage you to tune in. Anchor Baby coming up after him. somebody brought up a copyrighted woman who would be good to listen to right now to cleanse our palate. And that woman is the lady to whom Anchor Baby referred, Mary Rice Hopkins.
I want to walk like Jesus. I want to go wherever he goes.
I want to walk like Jesus, for I know he loves me so. I know.
I want to
Walk like Jesus. I want to go wherever he goes. I want to walk like Jesus, for I know he loves me so. It's Christian.
If I walk in Jesus' love, I will
Share his love with you.
I'll be your friend,
Even when love's so hard to do. I want to walk like Jesus. I want to go wherever he goes.
I want to
Walk like Jesus,
for I know
he loves me so. Mary Rice Hopkins.
I'll be his voice, I'll be his feet, I'll be his hands to everyone I meet. Walking and talking and loving like him. I'll be his feet to wherever I am.
Block this, Spotify.
Like Jesus, I want to go
Wherever he goes.
I want to
Walk like Jesus, for I know he loves me so. Oh, 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 E-O. Oh, E-O, oh, 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 E-O. It's Christian! She's such a good songwriter, like Taylor Swift. Or Fleetwood Mac. Walk like Jesus. I want to go wherever he goes. I want to walk like Jesus, for I know he loves me so.
I want to
Walk like Jesus. I'm gonna go wherever he goes. Walk like Jesus,
for I know he loves me so. For the
Bible tells me so. You hear their whistle? So good, guys. So good. Okay. And with that, let us listen to the beautiful. Let us reminisce. Because I have another minute and I want to give you guys my full, roughly hour and 55 minutes. We have another minute to go. So let's enjoy the airplane sound together.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Wait, who is I talking to? Because we need to reminisce on the Anchor Baby's flights. He will return one day to the friendly skies, we hope and pray. Thanks, guys. Peace in the Middle East, or at least in your hearts. If you seek peace and pursue it, I think the Bible says something like that. All right, take care, bye.